This is the Boxing Source YouTube. Thank all of y'all for taking the time to, check out this video. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell for future content that we have on this channel. Terence Crawford being with Top Rank, and we've just basically had the fallout from his fight against Kell Brook, and we see that a lot of people feel like, hey, he should have these big fights. He should be fighting this guy. He should be fighting that guy, whatever it is. But going off of this fight, you had like now this article coming out of the Athletic where you have comments from Bob Arum, and he kind of said that, oh, there's just an issue here with Terence Crawford, and that he can't keep having these type of fights where we end up losing money with Terence Crawford. And I find that interesting because it's like he's not giving the effort to put Terence Crawford in high profile fights at this particular juncture, whether they're against guys that are within Top Rank or outside of Top Rank or whatever. And kind of got me thinking, there was a guy that was under Top Rank, or at least was signed by Top Rank, and he was able to get the opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao ASAP, and his name was Timothy Bradley. Now, Timothy Bradley kind of built him a resume a little bit at the super lightweight division back, within the 2008 through 2010, 2011, where he fought the likes of, Kendall Holt, Lamont Peterson, Devin Alexander. He was able to become a unified champion. Actually, he was able to do that on two separate occasions where he became a unified champion at super lightweight. And at that particular point around 2011, it was kind of like a point where Timothy Bradley was under the limbo of, okay, who is he going to sign with next? Because he wasn't with Top Rank, he wasn't with Golden Boy at the time, or what eventually became PBC and whatnot. So there were possibly opportunities where Timothy Bradley was going to fight an American or Danny Garcia or someone else like that around that time frame. And he got the offer to, be under Top Rank. And he ended up signing with Top Rank, and his first fight was against Manny Pacquiao in 2012. Right off the bat. And that kind of like is, interesting because you rarely see something where, okay, you're able to sign with somebody and they give you the biggest opportunity or the biggest fight that could be made out there for you signing with them. And that's what they did there with Timothy Bradley. They got him in. They had him fight Manny Pacquiao. We knew what happened with that result. He was able to win a split decision against Manny Pacquiao to win the WBO belt in the welterweight. But he's had other fights that were out there, like the Ruslan Provodnikov fight, the Juan Manuel Marquez fight, before he had the rematch against Manny Pacquiao. He also had the fight against Jesse Vargas in 2015, before, eventually losing to Manny Pacquiao in the third fight, and that being his last fight of his professional career. But given the kind of like the comparisons between Timothy Bradley and Terence Crawford had been a 2-division world champion before he even moved up to 147. But once he was moving up to 147, they didn't even give him the fight against Manny Pacquiao, and he was already signed with Top Rank. There was nothing to where there was like some type of incentive or something where he could decide to, go to Top Rank or go to PBC or anything like that. He was already with Top Rank. And Bob Arum did not give him that opportunity. So I find it interesting that from yesterday, Bob Arum says what he says about Terence Crawford when you had someone in Timothy Bradley that really didn't move the needle like that when it comes to a crowd anyway. And yet he was still getting that opportunity to have that big fight against Manny Pacquiao. But Terence Crawford has not been able to get that. And it's crazy to me because it's like, okay, why is it that you have someone in Timothy Bradley that you gave an opportunity to, but you're not able to give it to someone that has been established in your promotional banner? Doesn't make any sense, you know? And some people may be able to try to say, like, okay, you know what? Even with that being said, like, Terence Crawford should try to go for fights at 147 pounds, because if you look at Timothy Bradley, you take away that Manny Pacquiao fights, like I said, Ruslan Provodnikov, Juan Manuel Marquez, Diego Chavez, Jesse Vargas, Brandon Rios. Those are the fights that he had at 147 pounds, with the exception of Manny Pacquiao. But if you look at Terence Crawford and what he has, I mean, he's had fights against, Kell Brook, Gidigis Kavaliauskas, Jose Benavidez, Jeff Horn, Amir Khan. Those are his fights, and even in the 140 pound division, John Molina Jr., Felix Diaz, Julius Ndongo, Victor Postol, Hank Lundy, Thierry Jean, Thomas Delorme. You compare that to Timothy Bradley and who he's fought at 140 pounds. Lamont Peterson, Nate Campbell, even though that was a no contest. Kendall Holt, Devin Alexander. Like, those are the guys that Timothy Bradley fought as super lightweight, before going up to welterweight. So some people could say that Timothy Bradley had a better resume at super lightweight than what Terence Crawford did. And that wasn't when he was with Top Rank. He wasn't even with Top Rank then. But here you are with Terence Crawford, who's supposedly the, one of the top guys pound for pound in the sport. And yet you're not giving him those opportunities to have the big fights, have the high profile fights out there. Whether it was at 140 or at 147. Like, when people talking about Terence Crawford and they're saying that his biggest win was against Yuriorkis Gamboa, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yuriorkis Gamboa, that fight was 6 years ago. 6 years ago was that fight. And that's his biggest win? No, that can't be right. So I want to know, like, how is it that someone like a Timothy Bradley, who was able to sign as a free agent to Top Rank, was able to get a fight with Manny Pacquiao right off the bat? But Terence Crawford, who has been under the Top Rank banner ever since the beginning, and he still can't get those fights at that level. That doesn't really make any sense to me. Tell me what your thoughts are about this in the comparison with Terence Crawford and Timothy Bradley. And like I said, subscribe to the Boxing Source YouTube channel. We got more topics that we can talk about. And you do have the podcast. It's usually on Sunday, so you could join in on the podcast on Sundays too. But once again, thanks for checking us out, and be sure to subscribe. Peace.